Why isn't Stage 2 East open yet? The story behind the delay. If you've driven past the new stations or watched trains testing, you've probably wondered the same thing. Why isn't Stage 2 East open yet? The stations look finished, the tracks are complete, trains have been testing for months. So what's left? Well, the answer might surprise you. The reason Stage 2 East isn't open today is very little to do with the tracks or the stations. In fact, the biggest obstacle is something most passengers will never even notice. To explain it, I want to work backwards, from opening day all the way back to where we are today, because I think that's the easiest way to understand why this project still isn't carrying passengers. Opening day. Let's start at the finish line. Opening a new railway isn't as simple as cutting a ribbon and welcoming new passengers aboard. Before the city accepts this system and this extension and announces an opening date, they need confidence that the system can reliably operate every single day. That means enough trained operators, enough maintenance staff, emergency procedures have been validated, operation staff are ready, maintenance facilities are prepared. And perhaps most importantly, there has to be confidence that the railway can deliver the scheduled service consistently and reliably. Only after all of these pieces come together can the city officially accept the project and announce an opening date. So what happens immediately before that? Final preparations. Before opening comes a period of final preparations. Operators continue training on the line. Maintenance teams prepare for daily service. Any remaining deficiencies identified during testing are corrected. The city reviews performance data and confirms all contractual requirements have been met. At this point, construction is essentially over. The focus shifts entirely from building the railway to proving it can operate like one. And that's where trial running comes in. Trial running. Trial running is essentially the full dress rehearsal before opening. Instead of simply testing trains, the entire railway operates as though passengers are already using it. Trains follow the published schedule, operators work normal shifts, the control center manages service, maintenance crews respond to simulated problems, emergency procedures can be exercised. The goal isn't simply proving that trains can move from Blair to Trim. The goal is proving that the entire railway can reliably deliver passenger service day after day. If significant problems occur during trial running, they need to be corrected before the railway can move closer to opening. So naturally, the next question becomes, why hasn't Stage 2 East started trial running? The train availability problem. Everything we've talked about so far depends on having enough trains. The city has indicated that Stage 2 East trial running requires a minimum of 46 available trains. Since Zone Train Line 1 operates with coupled trains, that's effectively 23 double trains available to support service. But 46 isn't really the target. It's simply the minimum required to begin trial running. In the city's June update at the Transit Committee, officials suggested they were working towards having approximately 54 trains available, with additional vehicles serving as operational spares. If you include those extra reserve trains, the overall fleet availability is closer to 58 trains. Why so many? Because no railway wants every single train out in service. Some trains need routine maintenance, others require inspections. Unexpected failures happen. Having spare trains means one mechanical issue doesn't immediately disrupt passenger service. Unfortunately, that's exactly where the cartridge bearing assembly issues become so important. As many of you know, trains have been removed from service so their cartridge bearing assemblies can be inspected and replaced. Every train that's unavailable reduces the number of trains that can operate the railway. So while the stations may be complete, and while the tracks may be finished, and while testing continues, the railway still needs a healthy fleet before it can move into trial running. It's no longer primarily a construction challenge, it's an operational readiness challenge. where things stand today. The good news is that progress is continuing. As repairs are completed, more trains are gradually returning to service, and the available fleet continues to grow. Once the minimum threshold of available trains is reached consistently, Stage 2 East trial running can finally begin. From there, assuming trial running is successful, the city can complete the final acceptance process before announcing an opening date. There are still steps remaining, but unlike earlier in the project, they aren't pouring concrete or laying track anymore. They're preparing to operate a railway. Final thoughts. So where does that leave us? Stage 2 East isn't sitting idle because someone has forgotten about it or because crews are waiting for a ribbon-cutting ceremony. The project has reached a point where construction is largely behind us. The remaining challenge is making sure the railway is ready to operate every day reliably, with enough trains available to support the expanded network. That's why we've been paying such close attention to the fleet availability numbers. Every repaired train that returns to service moves the project one step closer to reaching that minimum threshold needed to begin trial running. But beyond simply reaching 46 trains, the city ultimately wants a healthier fleet. Around 54 available trains, with additional spares beyond that, so the system isn't operating right on the edge from day one. And once trial running begins, that's when things really get exciting. For the first time, this extension won't just be under test. It will be operated as if passengers were already using it. That will be one of the clearest signs that Stage 2 East has entered its final chapter before opening. Of course, trial running still has to be successful. If issues are discovered, they'll need to be corrected before passengers can board. But getting to that stage would be a major milestone because it means the railway finally has enough confidence and enough trains to begin proving it's ready for everyday service. So if you're wondering what to watch over the next few weeks or months, don't focus on construction photos or finished stations. Those have already looked ready for quite some time. Instead, keep an eye on two things. First, the number of available trains. And second, the announcement that Stage 2 East trial running has officially begun. Those are probably the two biggest indicators that the extension is approaching the finish line. As always, we'll continue tracking the train availability, numbers, trial running progress, and everything happening with Stage 2 East so you don't have to dig through city reports yourself. If you found this explanation helpful, consider subscribing to Railfans Canada and be sure to follow us in the next video.